Hello, my name is Kiriath, and today I have another video that I recorded with Byron from Artis Opus, this time showing you how to make a really awesome green to purple ghost wall. So this is a scenery piece that is all done using the Series D brushes, and it's awesome. It's ridiculous how good it looks. As always, if you are looking for information on Artis Opus and the technique used in each of these videos that you've seen so far, then there's a bunch of stuff in the description down below. Enjoy watching. I hope you get something out of this. You should give it a try yourself. It's ridiculous how good this looks. So yeah, enjoy, and I will see you after this.
So, I don't have it to show, but I can show a picture if that's useful. So, a while ago, I painted what we just called a ghost wall, which came out really well, which is, I don't know the name of Games Workshop scenery, it's absolutely fantastic. And that is a really good example of how to take the theories that we've learned or shown with something in black and white and then use exactly those, but use them with the filter of color added. It's a pretty simple palette to do this. And basically the idea is we're using fluorescent paints to the best of their ability to do what fluorescent paints do. So we have an interesting color graduation from purple at the start, and then we go right up through these. What we should find ourselves doing is using the white periodically to go back and kind of pre-highlight, if that makes sense. So working our way through a color spectrum, and then whenever we want to like ratchet up the contrast, we're going to make sure we're putting white down to make sure that the colors that go over it have the white punching through and allowing them to do their thing. Fluorescent paints are amazing for that. You can also use inks. It's a bit more tricky with dry brushing, but it doesn't mean that you should avoid using them. You can put an ink in you could put a mix of blue and green ink in with a color like the green that we used previously on this stuff and make it into like a super vibrant turquoise. Stuff like that is absolutely achievable. So our modeling question is this one. I'm just going to take this off, should make it easier. Right, we'll just do the one side of it, and we're going to try and do this in a pretty rough and ready, speedy fashion. So I'll be explaining less, but it's all the same theories that we've put into practice on our basic black and white stuff. So, as with everything we've had before, this is a really textured model, so we don't have to worry as much about putting texture on it, but we still want to put some down. So what I'm going to be doing is, this is before our colours have even started going on the model. Our base coats, they're going to go down, and that just gives a little bit of texture, but importantly as well, it's to lend some vibrancy to the colours that we're going to be using on it. So this is going to look dreadful, just bear with me. There's no other way to start that off, but it's how we have to go at it.
That's what I say whenever I put work in progress stuff for conversions up.
Yeah,
it's like, it looks terrible now, but hopefully.
Yeah. This is going to look very extreme to people, but basically all I have to say is just don't worry about it. I'll eat my words if it turns out awfully, I promise.
I doubt that's going to happen.
Let's see how we go. So we've had our grey, now got the white. So you'll see that after, I'm not sure if you can show this stuff chronologically, but I've been talking to John about making sure he doesn't do this, making sure he does that. I am purposely doing the opposite of what I said because I want the, I'll be able to show it here. I don't want all of that to be completely white. I want the little lip underneath that crenellation.
Stay dark.
Yeah, exactly. Thing about doing stuff like this, you give people a load of like always do this rules, and then the next thing you do is like, with this exception, they are just guidelines. All of it is just guidelines. It doesn't matter at all if this isn't smooth, guys. It's not something you should worry about. You can take the opportunity to learn about dry brushing in general while you're doing it, because it's there's never a reason not to learn from what you're doing. So you could try and do it smoother to practice the technique. But if it is rough, you're not going to be punished whatsoever. All right, so we got there. I just want to make sure this top section is properly bright on top too. One thing to be mindful of, guys, is if you are doing this, you cannot leave anywhere with white showing through because it will look absolutely dreadful. It doesn't matter so much if you're going to a super bright color, but if you were trying to, let's say, make a purple more vibrant, but it was quite a dark one, you cannot get away with leaving white bits showing in shadows. It looks dreadful. So as soon as you do this, you just know that you have to spend the time making sure that you thoroughly cover every single bit afterwards. Okay, so that is pretty much good enough. Fairly happy with that. And it's pretty much all dry as well. Now, cleaning of my brush as I go, I may as well do this here at this point. You'll see I'm pretty much doing what we're going to be doing anyway, but I don't need this paint on my brush. So I can get rid of it, and I can get rid of it in a way that isn't going to hurt our model that we're painting and is probably actually going to enhance it a little bit. Also, these areas, they've only got black primer on, so we want to have an opportunity to put a little bit more paint down for our next layers to grab onto. With this here, you'll probably be able to get an idea of what we're going to be doing in the following stages. Okay, so that was it. Pretty quick, rough and ready. You could, if you wanted, stipple base coat the entire thing and then just spray it with a white can from the top, because subtlety isn't really, it's not really an issue.
Yeah.
With this, there's a load of slightly faster ways you could do it, but this isn't exactly a slow method we've used here. All right, so that's been built up there pretty nicely too. What I'm going to do here is I am going to work from dark to light and light to dark, kind of jumping between the two of them. You can, if you find it easier, and some people do, you can absolutely go from one to the, like, just do it one way. You could do light to dark all the way from top to bottom, or you could do dark to light all the way from bottom to top. Some people find it easier to work like that, or it might be something you get more comfortable with when you're more experienced with the technique. You can chop and change it as you see fit. I'm choosing to do it like this because it's going to allow us to get super punchy, bright bits at the top. So our first colour is Xeris Purple. We'll put that on the bottom, work our way up, I think. Right, my brushes just have white in it, so I cannot have that giving us some weird pastel-y. So I'm just going to remove it. I could do it on the model if I wanted, could do it on a texture palette, it wouldn't matter too much, just as long as it goes on something that isn't the purple. Looking good there, pretty clean inside it. A fair bit here. We're not going to be removing this paint. It is going on to properly undercoat. So at it. So we're not going off on an angle or anything like this at this stage. We're looking to get pretty much every single bit of that model. You can leave the recesses darker. That's part of the reason for down here. We haven't got anything light in there. It's fine for the model to be dark at the bottom. Up to you really. I'm going to give them a little bit of attention, but if they're not completely dark, it's not an issue massively. Yeah, plenty of paint. And I'll get some of the next colour we're going to be working into ready as well. God, that colour's nuts.
I really like it.
It's so bright, isn't it?
It's starting to make me Just think about all sorts of different
getting
things.
ideas. It's really good over black, as we saw in our palette by accident earlier. So do a little bit more purple, and then we're going to start introducing our green. So just with other stuff, roughly for the next one is going to be, if it's not 50-50 in paint, it's going to be kind of in terms of visual representation, a 50-50 mix. That might be a bit too much on the green side, so I'm going to jump up higher up the model, use it there, and then go back to our purple and a bit more of that into the mix. There we go. That's fixing mistakes on the fly. We're starting to get to the sections here where we had our white, so I have to be really careful. As I mentioned very specifically, you don't want to leave any of those areas on show. So those nooks and crannies have to be reached. It's a pretty cool colour, this one.
Yeah.
You're all over this, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not going to say that I'm going to repaint my knights again, but I can see future models being that sort of green.
So guys, have to remember we are going to be dry brushing over this. I'm going to start soon dry brushing down the model once I've done the stippling for each layer. So dragging these colours that I'm mixing now down onto the previous layers. But I'm really conscious that I don't want any white bits left. If you have to do a bit of more traditional backwards and forwards painting to catch them, it's fine. It's not like you're only allowed to use one type of technique when doing this. So now, so this is the important bit for getting things looking smooth. Back to the dampening pad. The brush is wetter than normal. We are doing a heavier application than normal. Doesn't matter so much. It doesn't look delicate, and it isn't particularly delicate. We're just trying to do things in the right order. Looking to carry those colours on down. Also, this has the added bonus of removing the previous colours from our brush, which is going to help the current colours look more bright. So all of this is kind of like, it's a very organic way of graduating from one colour to another. Making pretty good progress there. Brush is looking a bit cleaner than it was as well. We've used extremely strong paints though.
Something that I have got questions about a few times is whether the staining on the bristles affect when you use the brush the next day or whatever, as long as you clean it properly.
Yeah, if your brush looks like this, that's not going to particularly make a difference to anything unless you're trying to do absolutely pristine white. And you find naturally you end up using the brighter colours if you're doing most painting with them. As you are using that white and scraping things off, you end up cleaning it as you go fairly well. Same session, you might have some bleed, but the idea with a lot of the way I paint is cleaning and dry brushing are the same thing pretty much. So yeah, you end up doing one and the other kind of as a matter of course at the same time. So
we saw in one of the earlier videos my now very very battered large is the head is not necessarily clean, but at the same time when I'm putting things like ice yellow on models, it's not coming out like purple ice yellow or red ice yellow. It's still the colour that you want it to be.
Right.
Which I have to admit, looking at the new ones compared to mine, I'm starting to realise just how much I've been using it non-stop since I got it.
I've got a picture to show you. One of my friends, he literally painted the entirety of a Byron Deep Konami with the one brush. And
oh wow!
By the end of it, the brush was tiny, absolutely minuscule.
I'm assuming it wasn't a large.
It was a large or a medium, I think. Right, so we're still working our way down the model. can see that kind of airbrushy effect.
Yeah.
Now I need to hold it in camera so other people can see as well as John. But yeah, that's what we're going for. This is helped by the fact that scale 75 paints are a little bit more transparent. But that's why we wanted a punchy white. We didn't want some subtle stuff going on here. We're after like a very like in your face badass transition. So with the dry brush stages now, working down over all the model. Oh dear, I just found some white nooks and crannies. Naughty. So I made it a little bit more wet than I would do normally there because I needed it to seep into the cracks. But we're starting to see that kind of magical effect.
I'm really hoping that people are properly picking up over the course of these videos that it's, yes, it is dry brushing, but there is a lot more to it than just what you would think of as traditional dry brushing. It's not just a case of do the same thing you've always done. There's more to it. It's more varied, and the results are obviously a lot different than you would just get from doing what you would normally do.
There's a lot more. Yeah, there's a lot more. It's just like if someone, because dry brushing has been looked at in the way that it has, I think part of the problem, Bunny, is that people view it as a technique to be used in one way, but I don't teach someone, you don't give someone a normal brush and say this is layering. Like you can only ever use it for base coating or something. You can use layering for blending, you can use it for highlighting, you can use it for base coating, you can use it for whatever you like. It's just taking paint from one shape of brush and putting it on a model. Right, we are now about to ratchet things up a little. So I'm not going to involve our yellow just yet. Now these are super transparent. They are fluorescent paints. They are, if you paint it over white, think of it as a filter more than of a traditional paint. I need to shake it on that.
Those are they Vallejo as well, or those? Yeah. Because I've got one of the fluorescent greens that I've used a lot. A lot.
Really, really good. Super useful.
I use it to cheat doing super saturated green.
Yes.
Mixing it with doing a layer of white, then a layer of the fluorescent green, and then a layer of Hex Wraith from Games Workshop. It takes like 5 minutes to get a ridiculously saturated
really good
colour out of it.
All right, I've shaken the living Jesus out of that. Hopefully we're getting through to the good stuff. Yeah, there we go. I mean, it only took half a pot of paint, but we're there. Where's my paint shaker I need? And we can see that's literally... Okay, there we got there. It's mad, isn't it?
It's actually quite a nice gradient by itself.
Yeah, it is. So I'm going to remove what I previously had on my brush. This is a reason to store your paints on their sides or upside down, by the way, rather than the right way up. This is a kind of little tidbit. So taking from my green, there you can see how it is now. It's not a particularly opaque paint, but it does flavour other colours really nicely. What we're going to have to do though, and you'll see this as I go backwards and forwards because we're not even approaching done yet. We don't get to have like a really smooth, sexy final result without putting in the effort. I'm going to have to start involving white or another colour that actually that has better coverage than these fluorescents. Otherwise, they're not going to do what we need them to. So even though I'm putting this down now like this, we're going to have to go over to white, take a little bit of it here, and do this. And then you'll see there's going to be a fair bit of back and forth. We're not after a pastel colour here, which is what we're going to get at this stage. Again, wiping it in there just to make sure I don't leave any recesses. We're not after a pastel colour, which is what we're getting here. So we're going to have a little bit of patience and then work our way backwards and forwards until we get something that we are happy with. And how we'll get that is by going in there with the white, even when it looks like you could stop and say, "Oh, I'm done, I'm finished." All the sections of the colours they need to be, you can start seeing that.
It's so bright, I love it.
It's badass, isn't it? Not even close yet to what we're hoping to achieve. So putting down these layers here, super thin, and we're actually doing pretty much traditional painting at this point. It's just anything to fill the gaps. We're preparing, and we're also trying to remove as much of this from the brush because I'd like to do it all using the same one if possible to show the kind of the cleaning stuff that I've spoken, like clean as you go, if you will, that I've spoken to you about so far. There we go.
I know it's like, I know there's still a lot to do with it, but
see the idea.
That would not be a bad end result by itself.
No, it wouldn't at all. So we're using a new brush, so I'm just gonna pluck away the hairs. We are using, like, this is about as aggressive as I will use any type of brush ever. So if anything is going to make you shed your first few bristles, it's starting like this. Now, top down, and I'm going to start introducing white in a little bit. And then we're saving our yellow. You'll have seen me pick out the fluorescent yellow, which is obviously going to get added to the green.
Shall I start shaking that now?
Yes,
so that...
please. Yeah, they are. Okay, so I've got white. I'm still going to mix it in on the texture palette as normal, but this is the stage where we should start seeing the benefits of doing stuff directionally. So now we've been just going at our model to cover the sections and make sure nowhere gets missed. At this stage now, we are going only top to bottom, unless we need to hit the side of a pillar or something like that. I'm going for that ghostly glow. There we go. Okay, so looking pretty good. Again, considering the amount of traffic that this brush has had so far, it's not like pretty much all the purple is gone. We've still got some of the green going on, but our bristles aren't like caked, which is part of the idea. So I think that's dry enough for me to not have to worry about it. Straight white at this point. It's a careful application. This is not a jabby application to go in all the recesses and stuff like that. This is to make sure that the next steps we do look bright as can be. Taking our white. I want to get quite a lot of the upper sections and then a tiny little bit of the lower sections with this. I'm not looking to treat all of the model the same because we want the top bits to be brighter and the lower bits to be darker. That goes for the colours underneath and also the highlight on top, the dry brush highlight. If my phrasing there is confusing for anyone. You can absolutely use the same dry brush highlight all over. It won't matter at all, but this one in particular, we're going for this type of approach. People might notice I move around the model that I'm painting a lot. I don't try and do, if I can hold my model in the right position and make my paint strokes as easy as can be, I always do. I think it probably comes from airbrushing a lot, but I think it's a good habit to get into rather than trying to do anything different here. If you've got a way that works, there's no reason that you should be changing that. The one area where I might do a tiny bit of snipping with this white is up here because I want these bits to get really, when we put that yellow in, I want it to really get picked up quite obviously. Okay, so that's beginning to look pretty tasty now. We'll get a little bit down at the bottom. Getting there, isn't it?
Yeah, the details coming out really nicely.
Yeah, we haven't added our, just use that last bit of white on top. Obviously we want the top to be super bright. Look really weird next to black now. And the, like the unsprayed ground. Okay, so we've got our beautifully shaken, thank you very much, yellow.
It better be beautifully shaken.
Hey, that's
properly went for it.
First time. Okay, so we're going to be taking a tiny bit of our previous green. We still want that in the mix. That's more to like flavour the bristles. I don't know how you want to put it though. Plus the fluoro green, plus a little bit of fluoro yellow, and it kind of looks like a weird inky paste at this stage. There we go. So we're being pretty careful with this. It's until we've used up a fair bit from our brush. This is a somewhat scary paint in terms of just how bright it is.
Yeah. If it goes in the wrong place, although at least you'll know about it really quickly.
Yeah, you will. It's semi-transparent, so it's not the end of the world. But because we have put those previous stages down, it should stick quite easily to the areas that we want it to. So be quite gentle. And then the top, the idea is we just have the top look absolutely crazy as much as possible. So now I've removed quite a bit from the brush just by painting. I can do some scribbling in this area pretty much, and on top as well, which means that I don't have anywhere to hold it. Go back, get a bit more yellow in it now. And basically we're going to repeat our last couple of steps a few times, and until we're happy. There's no amount that is right or wrong. This is exactly the way that I painted the skin on our Great Unclean one. If people have seen that in the past, you can go back and pre-highlight with the white as much as you want. You're also going to make sure, because there's such lovely detail on these pillars, a little bit of careful side-to-side action. General rule of thumb, if you're looking to be more rough with your brush, closer to the end, I generally hold it about here for dry brushing, but if you hold it on the wood, so nice, just a reference, you're going to be doing kind of more flowy, soft strokes. So if you're looking to be a bit more gentle, that's why you might see me backing down the brush. Getting there, we're on course.
I love that green at the top.
It's cool, isn't it? Let's make it more green.
Like an entire set of that terrain painted up like that on the table. Looks so good.
I don't know, I haven't done it yet. It's something that I do plan on doing. These colours are going to be involved in some display pieces for us to take to shows in the near future, because it's hard to miss, isn't it? All right, with that white again, we've got our previous colours on the brush, so we might not need to go and pick up that kind of green yellow mix again. We'll just have to see. But this is going all the way down the model. It's more gentle when I hit the bottom. Can be a bit rougher with it at the top. It's going on a pretty bright layer, and you're going to see me using the wiping that I keep talking about. Keep testing it here on the palette. It's just about picking up the edges of the graffiti palette. And down the wall as well, carefully. More so at the top. You can just do it with pressure. If you're looking, you can use darker colours here, lighter colours here, or you can use a light colour and use it heavy here and softly down there. A lot of different things will pretty much achieve the same result, which is we've been talking about that a lot off camera. It doesn't matter how you get there. A lot of results can be achieved in like 5 different ways, with mixing this with airbrushing, mixing it with washing, doing whatever. It doesn't even matter the order in which you do a lot of it, as long as you have the general idea and overview of the technique. Okay, forgotten the top because I'm holding it by the top. I always do that.
So they need to come with like a little handle or something.
Yeah, I do. Some models are just really good for holding while painting, and it makes such a difference to the painting experience.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you got a live mistake on camera from me there, guys. They're really quite common.
I was going to say, if anyone ever told me that they painted an entire anything and didn't make a single mistake, I don't know if I believe it. Like, I have quite a few friends though who are like exceptionally good painters, and there'll be at least one point where they're like, "No, that didn't work," and end up having to go back and fix it. Or
everyone. What I think makes a difference is with more experience, you make less mistakes, or the mistakes you make, it's like, oh, that was the wrong color choice, rather than like my hand slipped. But you also you get better at knowing how to fix them.
Yeah,
that's it's like, or you realize it doesn't matter that much because when that model's finished, you can glaze that bit, or actually it's going to get covered over by your next layers or whatever it is anyway. Okay, so I think we can turn that up a tiny bit more with one more layer of highlighter mix. There will be a fair bit of yellow in this, a little bit of green, and none of our other green or anything like that. This is just a ghosty layer pretty much entirely. We could put a tiny bit of white in, but I don't want to make it pastel, so it's important that I put the white down previously and then I put this in now without any white involved, because I'm looking to affect something over white, not have a passive on with white in it. That should pretty much see us good, I think. Gently. Careful stippling there. That is pretty much as good. I'm running out of places to hold it. Getting a mucky thumb. Make sure that all the top has been hit with that. We don't want any of the layers that we just pre-highlighted with white, which are going to stand out like a sore thumb, to be missed. So, and then let's see how it looks with just yellow, because we're worried that our model isn't bright enough currently. Right, that's the concern.
In the wrong house for worrying about that.
That's the concern. Right, there we go. So that's pretty much it. So that was, I'm not sure how long that took, but that is talking about the theories I was going. But on a larger model with less colours, it's easy just to rock it on at kind of the pace you would do normally. That's that. I think actually that looks pretty solid on camera.
Yeah, that looks really nice.
Put the rest of it on now. That is using exactly the same techniques we talked about previously. You're just involving colour a little bit. Then we had a little bit of extra kind of nuance concerning the concerning when to use white in the mix and stuff like that. But really all we've done is we have stippled our base coat. We've gone from darker to lighter, and then we've done dry brushing, and we've done it carefully. We've not used the same approach all over all the model, although if you did, it still looks super solid. It's just not the exact technique we're going for, and that is the final result.
I love the colour of it. It looks so good.
It's cool. It just works. But yeah, that is a full one. You could go over that with the white again. Like you could literally play with that backwards and forwards for like 5 more steps, and just push it slightly more each time, covering slightly less of the model. If you wanted to add some more in there, or you could whip out a new brush that doesn't have any of this on it at all, and then get a really careful white at the end. The option's always open.
See, I told you that looked really, really good, and it didn't take all that long, and it's just such a versatile technique, and you can get so much cool stuff out of it. And now I really want to see an entire terrain set using that, because it's Ghost Wall. It looks great. Thank you very much for watching. As I said before, there's a bunch of links in the description for Artis Opus products and information, all of that stuff. Feel free to go and take a look. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you for the next one.